OPEC Plus, which is made up of some big oil producing countries, had a meeting over the weekend, and it's pretty bad news. Now, how bad, you're wondering? Well, some major news outlets like Bloomberg, Reuters, and the Wall Street Journal weren't allowed in. Yeah, exactly. They were totally left out of the loop. Now, these OPEC Plus members got their eyes set on one thing: keeping those oil prices nice and high. But here's the issue. Oil prices actually dropped about 17% in the last 7 weeks. That's a bit of a nosedive. So last week, Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest players in the oil game, basically said, hey guys, we're gonna do some big action now. And you bet they meant it. Well, OPEC Plus, which includes Russia, another heavyweight in the oil business, gathered in Vienna for a meeting about whether they should cut back on oil production, and even more possibly. Now, timing here is very key because with the summer here, people are itching to take travelings, take vacations, and hit the road, especially in August. And you know what that means, right? Yup, more people around the world is going to pay more because of the higher demand for oil. Now, as a result of the recent decision by OPEC Plus members, countries, Bloomberg says Saudi Arabia is going to cut down on making 1 million barrels of oil a day. And they're doing this because they talked it out with other countries in this OPEC Plus group. And after talking and talking for a really long time, basically. And an economist at Goldman, which is one of those smart groups, said this is a bit unusual. It's like deciding not to have a big piece of cake after you just had some cake not too long ago. So they probably want to see what happens when they use less oil. Now, this whole cutting thing started in July. Now, remember in April, OPEC surprised everyone by cutting down oil on making 1.2 million barrels a day less. Now, this time, the UAE, which is one of those countries, is actually coming out on top. They get to make more oil next year, but there's a catch. Some African countries have to give up part of what they could make. Now, OPEC Plus is like a little boys club, and I don't want to say a cartel of some sort, but you get the idea. These countries, they're big shots in the oil game, and they decide how much oil each of them can pump out. Now, they're the bosses of the oil market. And you know why that matters? Because oil is like gold in the modern world. Everything runs on it and is made of it. Cars, machines, you name it. So if these guys decide to cut down on oil and how much they pump out, what do you think is going to happen? Well, obviously prices go up. Simple as that. And profits go up. Now remember China? That country is like a giant when it comes to using oil. They gobble it up like there's no tomorrow. And you know what happens when China decides to buy more oil from a country like Saudi Arabia? Well, first off, the inventory of oil starts shrinking because China's sucking it all up. And secondly, it keeps the prices from falling too much. Not like those super high prices from a few years back, but still pretty solid. Now, those smarty pant analysts that say these cuts of oil production, if they stick around for a whole year, they're going to make a dent in the oil stockpile. And as China keeps getting thirstier for oil, the world's going to see more demand. Now, remember, when demand goes up, prices don't want to come down from their cozy perch. But here is the thing. Not everyone is thrilled about this whole oil production cut. See, countries like the United States are not fans. And why? Because cutting down on oil production can fan from the flames of inflation. But we're moving towards greener, cleaner energy sources lately, which is fantastic for our environment, right? But here's the kicker. It also means we're producing way less of the old school fossil fuel. And when we don't make as much oil at home, we gotta rely on other countries for it, which costs more money. Now, these countries might not always have our best interest at heart. And they could be playing their own games, and that can mess things up for us. Just imagine if we were dependent on them for oil, and they decide to cut production. Prices shoot up, and suddenly everything gets more expensive. Gas for your car, groceries to buy, even the services that you need. Now, if you like this video, check this one out as well.